We've got an hour. It's 10.
Clara said, "Do you think Pam remembered the
Yes,
daylight
yes.
saving?"
And David was afraid I'd gone the wrong way.
That was weird.
Oh, that feels good.
Okay.
That's good. Okay. Blessings, 1, 2, 3. Blessings, 1, 2, 3. Blessings. Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, I need some water.
Should I tell David that I have announcements?
Yes, tell David. Yep. Good morning and welcome to Unity, spirituality with open hearts and open minds. And as of this Sunday, open faces, if we so choose. Yay! It's so neat to be able to see everybody's smiles again. You could always see it in their eyes, but it's so nice to have a whole face instead of a half a face. It makes such difference. And so as of yesterday, Washington State no longer requires masks indoors unless it's transportation or a medical appointment. And so please feel free to continue to wear a mask if that makes you comfortable. This is a judgment-free zone. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask, follow your own guidance, knowing that as you pray for guidance, you do so for highest and best, not only for yourself, but for all. And we're looking forward to the month of April. We're going to have special activities each Sunday with a little treasure of some kind left on the chairs for all of you who come in from Zoom land in person and join us, because I think now that things are shifting, the month of April feels like kind of a come back home and be together in person again. So take the next couple of weeks. We will continue to Zoom services because we know there are those of you who are at home, and this is the way that you can connect with us. So we're not going to exclude you. When we go back to leading with in-person services, we'll continue to welcome you as well. And with that welcome, let us begin with Come Light, Light of God, which is what we sing as we light our candle, our Christ candle here in the sanctuary, and all of you at home light your candles as well. Come light, light of God, give light to creation, enlighten our hearts and remain with your world. Come light, light of God, give light to creation, enlighten our hearts and remain with your world. Oh, and let us say who and what we are as a spiritual community and family. We are an authentic, transformative spiritual community centered in God. We co-create a world that works for all. And as we do so in deep community with one another. We just found out yesterday that someone who was very active for many years here at Unity, she was actually super active and part of the ministerial search committee and then the board when I first came here to be the minister, and it's Patty Valentine. And she made her transition back to spirit in the last few days. She apparently had a massive aneurysm and was just gone instantly and with grace, with no suffering. And so a service was going to be held today. So if you remember Patty, and even if you didn't know her in outer body, her picture is on the prayer table. Look at her picture and send her and her family sweet blessings this day. I always thought when I met her that she had the perfect last name, Patty Valentine, because she had this great smile and was just radiant love and a fabulous, irreverent sense of humor that I absolutely adored. So she herself was a Valentine for sure for all of us. Here in our own spiritual family, Lisa Annabali, who we hold near and dear, has shifted into hospice. She's here in town. Miracles are abounding in so many ways in terms of a place for her to be, the care that she needs, homes when the time is right for her horses and her dog, who are not only her animals, but her spiritual companions in her calling and her work. She called in highly evolved animals, and so Spirit is making sure that they too are being cared for here in the midst of this and in the days to come for the rest of their lives. And so we send Lisa special love and blessings as we surround her with peace and with grace as she moves through this next phase of life. And finally, our own beloved Reverend Simon is getting ready to lead his retreat on Iona. I emailed him this morning and I said, can I please fit in your carry-on bag? I'll shrink down really, like Harry Potter's tent. I'll shrink down really small. I said, but carry me to Iona, especially to the nunnery. And so we want to wish Simon a blessed journey, March 18th through the 26th. And from what I understand, he does have a few openings left because of the pandemic. Some people canceled at the last minute. So we send Simon our love and support. And I have no doubt that while he's there on Iona, he will hold us all in prayer. And I'm looking out at a number of people who've been there with me. Yes, we're all just going, So we bring the blessings of the Holy Isle of Iona to this sacred service. We bring the blessings of Ireland and of St. Brigid to this service this day. And so we open to truly be the presence of the divine as we welcome spring in this day of transition and time change. I remembered to set my clock the right direction. So I get a gold star. I've always had trouble with time and space. I blow watches out unless they run on light. So that's quite an achievement for me. So it was love for all of you that got me up an extra hour early this morning. And with that, let us stand. If you're here, if you're at home and feel like standing, do so. Swing wide the doors after we do our I Am Home. I am home, I am home. I have traveled far along this road and now I'm home. Shalom, shalom. In the love of God.
And you'll see that Swing Wide the Doors has 3 parts. It's a Daniel Namod song, so hopefully some of you know it. I will sing the A part twice to begin with, so I'm hoping you can jump right in. It's on your paper as soon as you feel comfortable. And I just have to say, Swing Wide the Door puts you on a threshold, and we're letting in the light. So I thought it was kind of a Brigid song. And it's because I'm just learning the Celtic stuff. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Again, swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I learned to keep it inside. Well, now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a deeper life. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine.
Woo, yes. Oh, so as you swing open your heart, be seated and just stay in that spot of open-heartedness in this circle of kindred souls.
Morning, everybody in Kindred Souls. Can you hear me out there? Are we on? Oh, there we go. So, today is the second Sunday of the Lenten season, and as we talked about before, it's about release and renewal. So I want to tee it up a little bit as we get ready for the daily word. And this is from the Lenten booklet that Unity sends out. It's called Walking in the Oneness of Faith. Given what's going on in the world, and given what's going on perhaps in our own lives as we transition back to faces and no mask or yes mask or whatever, this may have a ring a bell. Within each one of us is a wellspring of faith, readily available as we open our minds and our hearts to our oneness, our constant connection with God. Yet at times, faith may seem unavailable, sporadic, even dissipated. When my life feels difficult, when the world appears to be in disarray, and our way forward is unclear, we might even think that we are losing our faith. But faith is not fleeting or fickle. It resides within us no matter what. Love is the catalyst for faith. Grounding ourselves in loving kindness elevates us, and faith blossoms. By consciously weeding out negative thoughts, words, and judgments, we draw more loving conditions to us, and we activate our faith. Like turning on a light switch in our brain and in our heart, everything around us brightens. When we change the way that we look and speak about life, we see through a glass more clearly. We are lifted, and so grows our faith. So today, as we step out in faith, we raise our consciousness by affirming, I walk in faith today. For Lenten, for the Lent season, take a moment perhaps today and take a walk. And then in your mind, keep saying, I walk in faith today. That's a catalyst for raising our consciousness. For when we walk in faith, no matter where we start, we will be blessed with a deep, resilient, spiritual understanding of loving kindness that we shine out and that leads our way. And we will experience, quote, the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. And I'm reminded that as a season of release and renewal, we were challenged last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess, with Karen, that we take 21 days and no condemnation, no judgment, and no gossip. So how are we doing with that? Ah, good.
We just judged ourselves.
Yeah, we did. So did I. However, with the daily word, the light of truth dissolves all darkness. A bird's cheerful song interrupts the quiet of the night. The dark sky grows lighter, and puffy clouds begin to glow with a beautiful shade of pink as the sun rises. Brilliant rays announce the sun's arrival. The sun peeks over the horizon, flooding a new day with light. Light dissolves darkness in my consciousness in the very same way. At a challenging time, my heart responds to the hopeful thought that this too shall pass. Hope grows into faith as I open my mind to divine wisdom that is always mine to claim. Guided by the dawning light of truth, I see the way forward and follow it with confidence. As surely as a new day brings a sunrise, my faith assures me that the light of truth will dissolve the darkness of any obstacle that I face. From John, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. The light of truth dissolves all darkness, and so it is. Amen.
So we now prepare for our time of prayer and meditation together. where we sit side by side in this sanctuary that we have created, expanded out into the sanctuary of the internet beyond time and space, and the sanctuaries that abide at the core of each of our beings. It's our personal connection with the divine that is ever present with us wherever we go and whatever we do. And so in this world of turmoil, we settle in now into the presence of Spirit and realize that we are forever connected to the divine and to one another in ways that we can be channels of peace in our world now, in and through us, and channels of blessing for one another and our world. With this sense of connection and spiritual family of Anamkara, we now settle into this time of prayer and meditation using the wonderful Be Still and Know That I Am God by our beloved Reverend Simon Ruth DeVoyle.
Be still and know that I am God. Know that I am. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still.
Feel the connections that you have in this moment with your higher self, with this inner sanctuary, with those near and dear, with those unknown and far. Feel that presence of spirit that is truly the light in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome it. Just like a candle brought into a darkened room begins simply as a tiny spark of light. And then as our eyes adjust, we become aware of that light moving from that tiny flame out beyond itself into the room and even to the most shadowed corners. A bit of light abides. Each of us has been sent to be a light bearer, to be the presence of the divine in the world in the unique form that each one of us is. Oh, how blessed we are of the infinite wonder of the created world, that there is such variety, so much difference, and yet so much oneness all at the same time. For this light comes to that which brings our diversity, and that light comes to bring itself to that which is our oneness as well. The beautiful paradox that is the presence of the divine. Not an either or, but an and in spirit. Saint Brigid embodies the beauty and strength of the divine feminine, which is deep within us all. Stories of her life call forth this dimension of the divine in us, that we may be strong again to serve the interrelationship of all things within us, between us, and among us in the world. Take a moment and simply allow your light to brighten in the depth of your being and to radiate out into the world, touching those near and afar. Every prayer, every act of compassion and love and peace changes the world in untold ways. We believe in loving kindness, and we rededicate ourselves to that path in the moment, the path of loving kindness. We rededicate ourselves to the path of peace as peacemakers, as the children of the living, loving God of light. Bring your life exactly as it is and you exactly as you are into this holy moment. And know you are loved and cherished and honored for your presence in the world now. Each of us responded to a call that came to us in the realm of spirit and said, who will be present to hold the light? Who will serve in these times of change, this time of threshold from what was to what is yet to be? And each one of you present said, yes, send me. And so, know we honor your courage and your willingness to be present. And that it's not about doing it perfectly, but it's about practicing daily to be who and what we've been sent to be for one another, ourselves, and the world. And so open to be a vessel of these blessings through your prayers. As you gather near and dear, all of the prayers that are yours this day for those near and far. And into this sacred vessel that we share that transcends time and space, we now pour forth these prayers and uplift them as one. And we stand side by side, heart to heart, as we watch for the unfoldings of these prayers to descend and unfold in our very midst in the days, weeks, months, and years yet to come. Open now to be a channel of prayer and blessings right where you are and as you are. We hold in special prayer all of those prayers entrusted to our High Watch prayer chaplains, written, spoken, or sent soul to soul. We send a great blessing to Patty as her soul continues its adventure in the next realm, and we surround her family and friends with comfort and with all the remembrances of the light that she shared while she was here. We especially hold near and dear our beloved Lisa Anabali with all of her friends and family, and most especially her beloved animals who have companioned her and companion her now and always and forever. For they made a soul choice to come together and do work that blessed our world with seeing the interconnectedness of humanity and the creatures of God's world. And we send our beloved Simon blessings as he journeys leading a pilgrims group to Iona. We bless him and all of the pilgrims as they enter through the portal at the cross of McLean on Iona. As they enter into the very heart of the mysteries of Iona, may we join them with our blessings as they journey. And may we open to receive from afar any blessings they send us from that holy isle. And so gather up your life now exactly as you are and prepare to re-enter your outer life, renewed, restored, and rededicated, realizing how blessed you are to be here and how blessed we all are to have you. And so I invite you now to open your eyes and receive the St. Brigid prayer as you link inner and outer realms. Brigid, I call upon you now. Light the fire inside my heart. Be the light that guides me. Travel with my every step. I follow the path you tread. I invite the light into my life. May illumination reign. The shadow that once ruled the land has been expelled once again. May nature be renewed once more, and with it life spring forth. I am ready to begin anew with all my strength and force. Go forth blessed and blessing, and know you are making a difference, and St. Brigid walks with you every step of the way. Namaste. I behold the light of God in each of you and the spark of Brigid above your head and in your heart. And so now, special music.
Beloved maiden, sweet Brigid, you are the spring and new life for this world. Men may defile you, women may banish you, but you cannot be removed from the soil. There was a time when you could not bear it all, and your tears soaked the earth for what you saw. On that hallowed ground there grew a fruit tree, with Eden's fruit brought to light through your tears. O wise bridwife, threshold keeper, there's a harsh, bitter cold in these times, but in your tender heart there lives a beauty. It's the gold that fills the cracks where we divide. Beloved maiden, sweet Brigid, you are the spring and new life in my veins.
Beautiful, thank you. Saint Brigid from Simon. Simon wrote that. You probably recognize it. Oh, Saint Brigid. This month we're doing Saint Brigid, and we're talking about the divine feminine and really reconnecting and re-honoring the divine feminine. And I know when I first came to a Unity church, it was Unity Dallas, many, many years ago. Oh my gosh, what, 35 years ago? And during the prayer, they used the term Father, Mother, God. And I'd never heard that before. And I went, wow, that's kind of a mouthful, but I like it. Because growing up, I'd gone to many different spiritual traditions with many, many different people, and I found the presence of God in all of those places. And I would go and I would hear about the Father God from the Old Testament, and then the loving God from the New Testament, masculine, masculine. But then I'd go to a Catholic church, and my favorite place were the little niches in the side with Mother Mary and the candles. That divine feminine presence is always there. You can't get rid of it. You can suppress it, which with the patriarchy it was suppressed, but it's reemerging. And I believe that we are living in times where we are being called to overcome polarities and to remind us that they are part of a oneness, as well as each having its own gifts. And by feminine, I don't just mean the feminine physical form, because thank heavens for Jungian psychology that helped us remember the truth, the Father, Mother, God of our being. We have a divine feminine and a divine masculine within each of us. I've believed for many years that our calling in this time period is to honor both and to allow them to integrate and harmonize where we can receive the gifts and the blessings of both. We've been living now in a threshold moment, is one of the things that John Philip Newell says. We're waking up again. We're awakening to the feminine and to the desire to faithfully tend the inner relationship of all things. We are in a period of the throes of the divine masculine shadow, not the divine masculine. I remember when the women's movement started, there were a number of women that I knew that said, oh, the masculine is negative, we've got to get rid of it and go back to the feminine. Well, prior to the patriarchy, there was a matriarchy where the women were more empowered than the men. In fact, according to the legends, if they got upset with a man, they could seal him in a tree for as long as they wanted. A little shadow side there. And so we're coming into time not to go back, but to continue to evolve and move forward, and to recognize the light and the gifts that both the masculine and the feminine bring. But to do that, we have to heal our connection to the divine feminine. At the beginning of this book, he says, Celtic wisdom remembers the sacredness of the feminine. Deep within us and deep within the matter of the universe is a conjoining of masculine and feminine energy. Both are of God. Both are essential to us individually and as a species. At the heart is a marriage of masculine and feminine, of heaven and earth. The stories and legend of St. Brigid of Kildare invite us to awaken, to remember. I love the fact that in this chapter, he really stresses that she's a portal person, a threshold abider. It said when she was born, her mother was at the threshold and was holding the doors, the sides of the door when she was born. And that when she was born, a light was seen. And one of the great Druid priests that came and saw her said, "This child burns with an inner fire." A child of light. And to this day, women give birth in portals, particularly in Ireland with the midwife assisting the mother as she stands in the portal. I don't know if you've all been in a delivery room, but what a portal that is. I remember in nursing school, the first time I got to be in a delivery room, that portal, I was there and I was so nervous. And I had my old Army nurse that was my teacher for this one, and she was tough, so I had to be brave. And she ended up being my absolute mentor. We ended up being friends after I got out of nursing school. But she took me in there, and I saw the moment that baby was born and took its breath and cried. And it was like the world changed. And I was in tears. And I looked over at her, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm crying." And she said, "No, you are midwifing." She said, "You are doing what you should be doing." She said, "As tough as I am, every time I'm in a delivery room, I tear up a little bit. Look." And sure enough, she too was moved by that. In one moment, there were 5 people in the room, and suddenly there are 6. And then There are those of us who are called to be what I call threshold walkers or portal walkers on the other end as we release these physical forms and return to spirit. I was blessed to be in that portal with both my father and my mother. My dad gave me this gift of someone who was terrified of dying in a lot of ways because he'd been raised Southern Baptist and he had given up all of that and said, if that's God, I don't want it. And then toward the end of his life, he said, oh, if they're right, I'm in real trouble. And he smiled this smile it was like over my right shoulder, I'll never forget. It was like he saw a Christmas tree, like a kid seeing a Christmas tree. And he smiled this smile and made brief eye contact with me. And then over my shoulder, I felt him pass. I told him to fly to the light. He'd been a pilot in World War II and loved to fly. And in that moment, he gifted me with the reassurance and this knowing that I know that we are eternal spiritual beings. I held my mom, who many of you knew and loved, as she took her last breath. And just like she always told me, the moment I was born was a sacred moment for her. She'd already had one child that was severely multi-handicapped. The pediatrician was in the delivery room. And so there was a lot of emotion in there as I was born. And he checked me immediately, and my mom said, is she okay? Is she normal? And he said, yes, she is. Little did he know. But physically, I was normal. And so these portals, those are big ones, birth and death. But every day is a portal. Every time you wake up in the morning, it's the world inviting you to be a part of it. And every night as you lay your head on your pillow, it's your inner realm of spirit inviting you to settle in and be present at depth as well. Saint Brigid was absolutely amazing. She became an abbess. She had a monastery that had both men and women. She was baptized by St. Patrick, but what was interesting is in the midst of his giving her blessing to be baptized, he ended up baptizing her into the priesthood. She was born with a great light. Brigid actually means great shining one. And then many years later, Bishop Mel was going to do a special consecration and blessing of her as she took her nun's vows, kind of back to the traditional box again. And what was fascinating was he saw fire descending upon her, the presence of spirit, and he consecrated her not as a nun, but as a bishop. Isn't that interesting? The divine feminine through her was saying, no more repression. In the Celtic tradition, the divine feminine was allowed to emerge and to be present. It was honored, it was celebrated, particularly through the holy wells that to this day are associated with Brigid. And the concept of fire, and at her monastery, for centuries they kept a fire alit that never went out until Henry VIII did the dissolution of the monasteries, and they put the light out. But it has since been rekindled once again, of course. And so light, fire, water, flow are the two elements she's particularly associated with. And one of the things that I love is that with that, she is embracing the elemental world, but she's also embracing the traditional Christian rituals of baptism. The baptism of water is where Jesus is baptized and the dove descends and says, "You are my child in whom I am well pleased." The baptism of water. And then the baptism of fire comes after he's returned to spirit. And Pentecost comes. And the flames descend, and the people who are speaking different languages and can't understand each other suddenly can hear one another. Not only were their ears opened, but their minds and their hearts were opened so they could hear. With this next blessing, the one of fire. Brigid has lived vibrantly in the Celtic imagination for centuries, and perhaps in a new way she's appearing in your own soul these days. Maybe standing at the threshold within you, bathed in light, gazing at you in love to welcome you in. She is emerging again in human consciousness, colorfully calling our attention. This is, of course, because we need her today, perhaps more than ever before. She is stirring us to be midwife people and threshold communities. Isn't that beautiful? She's calling us to be midwife people and threshold communities. She's inspiring us not to be frightened by the pain of labor and the uncertainty of passing through new doorways, but to faithfully serve in this time of fear and transition. Oh, I think about watching television right now and the things that are going on in the world and how we're called to be present in profound ways. I was watching the morning show yesterday, and they had something about these kindergartners who came on, and they're doing a thing called Pep Talk. Instead of TikTok, it's Pep Talk. And it's a number you can call, and they have messages. People are calling from all over the world. They had over 5,000 calls just in the brief time that it was announced. No telling what it will be now. From all over the world. And there are these children just saying, have faith, do something kind for someone today. They've got flyers and artwork they're putting out all over their city. And I look at that and I go, that's St. Brigid. That's Brigid calling the children out to be her presence in the presence of the divine. I was moved to tears the other day when they showed strollers lined up at a train station. And at first I thought it was the strollers that had been left behind by the women getting on the trains because they couldn't carry them with their children. And instead, it's rows and rows of strollers that are all over the adjacent countries that are there to welcome the women with their children. The strollers have been placed there by women, and women from all over the world are sending them or having people purchase them on behalf of the Ukrainian women who are fleeing with their children. And there's strollers with a little stuffed animal and a blanket and diapers, just lined up so as women come off the train, they know that other women have seen them coming and been willing to come forth and do something to make a difference. Kindergartners, women with the strollers, but also the men. I watch the men carrying children, carrying the aged with tender, loving care, from danger to safety. There was an entire busload of orphans that a group of men gathered together, and the children had been in a shelter underground for, I think it was 10 days. and they finally had a break in the fighting. They took a bus and loaded the children with their caregivers that were the women, and the men protected the bus until it went to safety over the border. And the woman who was their prime caregiver was in tears, going, "Look at the children's faces." And these children were smiling. Although they had lost so much, they were cared for. That's what Brigid calls us to do, is to care for one another. She's at that portal between the pre-Christian and the Christian with the elemental energies. She's at the portal between the divine and our humanity. And when those touch and we remember that we're more than just this outer appearance, we open to generosity, and we do things we might never have done. We overcome fear, and we reach out with love when we remember that we're divine beings as well. She's the portal between humanity and the earth itself. She's about birth. She's about healing. She's about interweaving all of life, including nature and all of the creatures as well as the other people, that we're called to tender, lovingly care for our world, which is a huge part of our evolving consciousness now. And she's also, I love this, at the portal of the womb of the universe and that which is coming into being. I believe with all of my heart that we are having a threshold experience in our lifetimes, here and now. Is labor easy? No. But is it worth it? Yes. When I did labor and delivery, I had one mother who I looked up and she was walking down the hall in transition labor with her purse hooked on her arm, her back of her gown flapping, and she's going down the hall, and I said, "Where are you going?" And she says, "I'm going home." And I said, you really need to go back to bed. You're in active transition now. And she said, "I promise I'll come back tomorrow and finish, but I'm really tired. Can I please just turn this off and go back home?" Don't you feel that way right now as we look at our country and at the world? Oh, we've already been in labor for a while and we're tired. The last 2 years of a pandemic, we're tired, but we're in transition to something even better than we've ever seen before. And I know I'm on the right path when synchronicity strikes. And my beloved soul sister, Sarah, called me yesterday, and the New York Times has a full-page article on St. Brigid. Is this not a portal statement? Full-page article. In fact, the sites of St. Brigid were the ones that were on the pilgrimage that Jen and I were getting ready to do before the pandemic hit. Someday we'll do that, so if you ever want to go to Ireland, at some point we'll do that, because we've got to go see these sites, absolutely. And what's interesting is in this article, it talks about how this interest in Brigid is emerging, and people are coming from all over the world, and because she represents this healing and integration and oneness and honoring everyone. It says people are coming in groups from all around the world, interfaith groups, no-faith groups, goddess groups, Buddhist monks, all sorts of people. Said Sister Rita Marahan, one of the 3 nuns of the Brigidine order, who in 2015 opened Solas Brigid, Light of Brigid, a hermitage and prayer center on the outskirts of Kildare. Her legacy is appealing to people again today, I think, because of her alignment with the earth and because our planet is in danger. We are in danger. One of the things that I think has touched me the most about what's happening in our world, particularly in Ukraine right now, is a realization that I am standing in this place of no more war. War cannot be an option anymore. It destroys. There have got to be ways for us to collaborate and to bring those polarities together and to listen to one another and to not go down that dark, shadowed path again. We are all the children of God, and I think we're all being called to realize at a whole nother level than before the difference between what war looks like and what peace looks like, and how we can make a difference with whichever one of those things is occurring. We've been sent to be the presence, just like the bright, shining Brigid was. One of my favorite stories about Brigid is that in around 480, according to the legend, she wanted to found her monastery in the east of Ireland under an oak tree. Kildare actually means place of the oak. And so she went to the pagan king that was in charge of the area, and she said, "Can I please have some land to create a spiritual place for people to come?" And he said, "No." And she said, "I'll tell you what, I will put my cloak on the ground, and whatever my cloak covers will be the land upon which I will create my monastery." And he thought she was joking. He said, "Your cloak?" And she said, "Yes." She put her cloak on the ground. He agreed. She placed her cloak on the ground beneath the oak, and it spread, and it spread, and it spread. And by the time it was done, 5,000 acres were under the cloak of Brigid. Isn't that wonderful? And that's such a good reminder for us. You start where you are. Put your cloak on the ground in the sacred place you're called to, and then let your cloak, your presence, move out into the world so that you can welcome others to come sit beneath the oak with you. One of my favorite passages in this whole article is an old saying that is from Brigid. It said, "There's room underneath Brigid's cloak for everyone." Isn't that beautiful? There's room under Brigid's cloak for everyone. So we can pray. Brigid, Mary of the Gales, pray for us is a classic prayer. Let this be a time where we call for her sacred feminine wisdom at the so-called opposites of our lives, between spirit and matter, divine and human, humanity and earth, between the life of our nation and the plight of others, the insights of our spiritual tradition with the wisdom of others. And all of these, help us in all of these doorways to remember what we know, that the earth and the human soul are sacred. There is room for all beneath St. Brigid's cloak. Let us pray. Oh, sweet, sweet Spirit of Brigid, we call upon you to be present with us in these times. The reemergence of your energy is a divine response to the shifts and changes at the portal of evolving consciousness in our world. You are a threshold abider. Abide with us as we stand at our thresholds, both personally and collectively. Let us be willing to be so present in each moment that we feel the divine before us and behind us, on our right and on our left, beneath our feet, above our heads, and within the sanctuary of our own hearts and minds and lives. We go forth this day being willing to have the courage to be who we've been sent to be, not only for the evolving of our own souls, but for our collective evolution as well. May all be blessed and blessing as we abide beneath the cloak of Brigid. And so it is, Om, Amen, and blessed be. Oh, and so now you get to embody Brigid as we do our inspirational song, Raising the Veil. Abiding beneath the cloak of protection, but raising the veil that blocks your vision and awareness of the depth of the interconnectedness of spirit and all of life. Raising the veil.
I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil.
Thank you, and thank you on that treatise on St. Brigid. There's a lot of things I don't know about St. Brigid, quite frankly. But I did know some of the things because I've been around here before. So this is a time in our service where we receive the offering. So I invite you to take out your offering, and we will bless it as we do here each week. And it is really about raising the veil within. So it starts with divine love as me, each one of us. So let's bless our offering. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful indeed.
I am so blessed.
I am so blessed.
I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful.
Sweet, sweet Spirit, I am so grateful and I am so blessed. We are all grateful and blessed. So we receive these gifts with the opportunity to send them forward to our community, the larger community, and across the planet, that each person may find that blessing within them, the gratitude for the life they've been given, and the opportunity to light their internal candle and to let that shine. For that's what it's going to take for each one of us to glow in the light of our internal being. And let that be forward to express the divine. And as we do that, we create heaven on earth. And let us do that in our lifetime. And so it is. Amen.
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 Thank you.
So, we have some announcements. But I think maybe first, Wanish, you want to come up and we'll go ahead, because the big one is happening out in the foyer, down the hallway, into the warehouse, and in your lives, coming right here, right now.
Thank you, David. Gosh, I just can't tell you how spectacular it feels to be here, and all the beautiful faces and energy, and all you wonderful people at home to our big community. It's just, doesn't it feel like spring? Feels like spring. So, on that note, spring cleaning garage sale next weekend, Friday and Saturday. Thank you so much, all of you who've brought beautiful, beautiful things, and I'm hoping to see all of you here next weekend taking home somebody else's beautiful blessing gifts. Just saying. So to that end, we are still accepting clean, gently used, in good working order, your beautiful offerings. Today and Tuesday, we're calling it into accepting things by Tuesday because we need to have time to get everything set up. Boy, we have just been delighted with everything that's coming in. It's been really, really wonderful, and with all the help as well that we're getting and coming to pricing. So we still can use some help. And sorry. So it's looking like, at least with the forecast right now, that they're calling for rain next weekend. Who knows? It's supposed to be raining right now, and obviously it's not, right? So we're praying for no rain, but preparing for it. So to that end, we're going to today, with the help of all you beautiful people who are here, bring all the chairs forward and start setting up inside. In case we need to do that for next weekend. So we can really use still some help. Thank you for everyone who has volunteered so far. But what we're needing at this point is probably a couple more people who can come on this coming next Thursday, which would be the 17th. We'll be here from 10 till whenever. Setting up. And because we're setting up inside, we'll be able to do a lot of what we had expected to do on Friday on Thursday. So anybody who can come on Thursday and help with that and set things out, that would be so, so wonderful. But we could also use some people on Friday morning and Saturday morning, because especially if the weather is nice, we'd like to move things out, the tables out into the parking lot, because it just looks, festive. And we, so far, nobody has seemed to want to get up at 7 on Friday and Saturday and be here. So please, anybody who can offer some help, then that would be super helpful. The other thing that we need is folks to help us, especially on Saturday, restore our beautiful sanctuary back to its glory. So again, anybody of you at home who can help, just send a message or an email or a phone call to the office. I'll also have my little sign-up sheet out after service, so you'll see what's there. But thank you. I know it's going to be wonderful. Yes. Thursday we will be here by 10 till whenever. So, yeah. Good. It's better than I know that's early. That's early on Friday and Saturday, but it'll be worth it because there'll be. Here's the other thing. We are going to have. With your help, it's just kind of a crazy little idea at the last minute, but anybody who would like to make some cookies, some brownies, package them up in little Ziploc bags, and we will have them available for a love offering, and as well as some coffee on the days of, which will be lovely. So bring them on over, and thank you, David.
Thank you. John, did you have something to comment? That you're going for the cookies, right? Yeah. So, and the good thing is, now that you've cleaned out and created space, you know, the universe just hates vacuums. So there's some treasures out there. So, the other announcements are the normal ones you can find on the website. I understand that Wednesday we had dueling meditations. So I hosted one and Pam hosted one at the same time, so we had you surrounded in love and light. We're going to try to get the same Zoom connection put together for that. But anyway, for both of those groups, we had a really good meditation, and I invite you all at just follow the link, whatever one you get. Use the most current. That may help us. But anyway, on Wednesday from noon, we have a prayer and meditation time. We've got the Tuesday classes, and I think it's on the Magdalene this week coming up, first and third. And then the book of the soul, what do they call this thing? I should do it. I got it. Sacred Earth, Sacred Soul is on the second and fourth. So join in. You don't have to have read them. You don't have to have had any experience before. Just get out the link, 10:30, you're on, and away we go. And there's good conversation and always something to gain from it. So. And then we have Robert Simon, and Reverend Simon. He's going to be for another week or so, and then we've got Reverend Robert, who's doing the daily Lenten readings that he's doing, and just a lot of rich things. So take advantage of that. They're all here for you. And finally, there's a prayer box in the back of the sanctuary, and your prayer requests, feel free to fill them out. There's a little request card there. But it's important, if we have prayers, there's three parts to it. First of all is thinking it. Now, God knows what you're thinking. You know, we're all connected there. So thinking it, you're connected. Writing it grokks it a bit. That puts it into a visible space. And then saying it out loud is the most powerful. That gives it wings. So if you have a prayer, write it down. And if you'd like to pray about it with one of the prayer chaplains, I'm available, and we may be able to snag somebody else after service. Feel free to do that. There's a lot of power in that kind of three-step process, so I invite you to take advantage of that if you so choose. And with that, I believe we are concluded with the announcements. So reminder, okay, bring your stuff today, if you don't already have it with you, on Tuesday. And then Wednesday set up, we could use help. Thursday we can help. We're going to, wait a minute, what's Wednesday? We're off on Wednesday? Oh, prayer. Prayer and baking is on. Okay, well, we better shut this thing down. Okay, let's just go ahead and do the feast song. Feel free to stand up and join in the circle if you choose.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator,
And we know the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And as the light of God we shine, as the love of God we embrace, as the power of God we stand in truth, and as presence of God we go forth, expressing our divinity in all that we do.
And I don't know about you all, but I got covered in goosebumps and all choked up when we linked hands and did our circle. Woo!
Walk in faith today. Have a great day.